let's get into our game picks. Three huge, massive games to talk about.
Woo!
And let's talk about the first one we're going to see. Number one, Texas versus number three, Ohio State. The defending national champs will get maybe the most hyped quarterback official starting debut. I mean, I know he's made
Yeah.
some starts, I know he's played some games, but this is the official Arch Manning era here in Texas. Uh, it's a pretty hyped game for Texas. They're the number one team in the nation. They've got so much momentum facing off against, one of the best players, maybe the most electric player in college football right now, and Jeremiah Smith, and the defending national champs. This is going to be huge. Everybody's got their eyes on it. What are your thoughts about this game, and who do you have winning it?
Well, my thoughts on the game, if you want me to be honest, is I hate big noon kickoffs. But if we're talking about the actual game and my thoughts on, should be played in prime time, I don't know why this isn't played in prime time. But the game's going to be a fun one, I think. Again, no matter what, people will have their overreactions to Arch Manning. I personally think you'll see a little bit of good and bad in it. Nothing terrible in the game. For not just him, but for Julian Sayin too. These are two quarterbacks who really their first true test is going to be a 1 versus 3 matchup. With all the lights around, Lee Corso's final show is going to be there. There's going to be such a big atmosphere around this game. To me, though, the difference is the trenches, the O line and D line. I have questions about Ohio State on the O line, and then the Texas defensive line. I think should be one of the better ones in the SEC. So to me, that's where I think it's dominated there. Plus, the good news for Arch Manning is he's playing against a Matt Patricia defense. So he should be able to have 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. I'm kidding. No, the trenches is going to be the key part for me. I'm going to give the edge to Texas there to win on the road. I just think overall, to be honest with you, I think they're the better team as a whole. Not that Ohio State's not talented. They just have more experience also at Texas as well with that. So I'll give the edge to Texas to win this one in a close one. Wouldn't be shocked if it's a low scoring game, though.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. Like you said, a lot of first tests for these quarterbacks we're going to kind of see. But look, you've really taken the words out of my mouth. I think when push comes to shove, the more experienced team, the more talented team right now is Texas. I think they answer the bell, get the job done against Ohio State. I'm not saying Ohio State's going to have a bad year, but look, I'm expecting a little bit of a bump in the road to start with Julian saying. I don't think he's going to be a bad quarterback, but
Right.
coming in, redshirt freshman quarterback. He's going to take his licks. I think this Ohio State team loses 2 or 3 games this season, but I think still they're going to be talented enough. And being the defending national champs, they're still going to have a chance at that college football playoff. I'm not counting them out there. But I do think that we'll see this team lose at least 2 games this season, just with kind of the shift. And it's not just a quarterback. You talked about some of the big pieces you lost on defense. Look, Jack Sawyer, kind of an anchor for this defense over the last few years. And you looked at the huge plays he made on that national championship run last year. He's gone. Travion Henderson is gone, and he kind of anchored the
Yeah.
backfield the last couple of years,
Both
along with.
coordinators, too. I kind of hinted
Yeah.
at with Matt Patricia, but both coordinators are now gone. So new coordinators taking over at Ohio State. Meanwhile, Texas has got their whole coaching staff back pretty much.
Yeah, so not that Ohio State can't be great, not that they can't win this game, but to me personally, I'm going to go with the team that's more experienced, more consistent, and I'm going to take the Texas Longhorns in this one. Then we've got our second game here, number 9 LSU versus number 4 Clemson. This is going to be a matchup. A lot of the trash talk about who's the real Death Valley
Mm-hmm.
going on all off season, as well as 2 quarterbacks who were seniors ready to make a statement and ready to prove who they are. But look, these are 2 guys that are kind of a little bit turnover happy too. They've got big
Yeah.
arms, great arms. They can make some incredible throws, but they love to try and use that ball into tight spots. What are your thoughts on this game, these quarterbacks, and who do you think's going to win?
Well, my thoughts on the game again. I will say this: Texas Ohio State is probably the biggest obvious matchup for because obviously it's number 1 versus number 3. This is the one I'm looking forward the most to watching, though. I'm of all the 3 top 10 matchups, so this is the one I look forward to the most. You talk about both quarterbacks kind of turnover happy, but at the same time can put up really solid numbers. And you talked about with the QB, these are 2 guys that people expect to go round 1 in the NFL draft next year. I'm told there's going to be so many NFL scouts at this game, just not just for them, but for all the position players that are going to be going in this game. And also, let's say like it is, these are two sides. I don't want to say they're desperate, but it kind of feels like they're both looking for a we need a marquee win after the last couple of years kind of thing. Plus, let's say like this, neither side has been good in opening games over the past couple of years. Clemson
Yeah.
against Georgia, and then against Duke, and then you had LSU with the Florida State debacles, and then USC last year. These are two sides that really haven't started the season strong the past couple of years. So I think it'll be a fun one. I'm gonna probably give it. I'm gonna give the edge to the team that I think is the more desperate one at the end of the day, and I think that's LSU. I think LSU is the more desperate team at the end of the day here. I think to me, you'll see their defense be improved in the second year in that system with Blake Barker coming over from Missouri. Uh, the other thing that I just worry about though again is the new defensive system for Clemson. Tom Allen comes in, great DC in his time. He's a great DC, but I just wonder how long it'll take to get that system in there with a new DC coming in. And also, you talked about turnover happy. Which quarterback do I trust more to not make mistakes in this game? I'll give the edge to Garrett Nussmeier there, and I'll give LSU the win. And I guess they get the honor of being the real Death Valley and getting to go home to there.
Yeah. Look, you talk about this game, like you said, two great quarterbacks, two great arms. Um, they're both desperate, like you said. They started the last few years rough, and look, they're both trying to stay relevant. You talk about to me two coaches that, may I for sure Brian Kelly's seat's getting hot. I'm not
Yeah,
going to say that Clemson would put Dabo Sweeney on the hot seat just because of kind of what he's meant to the program and kind of what he's done for the program during his tenure. But I think he could even maybe be thinking about a change of scenery just if things start to go wrong. But I think two coaches who are, in tough spots right now really need something to turn around for their program. Two programs we've expected that have had these expectations to be competing for national championships, and neither's been particularly close. At least Clemson's made some college football playoffs in the last few years. But LSU hasn't even done that since I've gotten Brian Kelly. But I'm going to go kind of along with you here. I'm going to go with LSU. I'm going to go with the team I have a little bit more confidence in. I think no matter really how good or bad this team is, they recruit well. They put good players on the field. I think they're going to come out and be able to execute against a team like Clemson, it's not that they don't put good players on the field, not that they don't recruit well, but I
right.
don't know, just the denial. I know that he kind of leaned into it this year, but the unwillingness to just lean into that transfer portal and get guys, because there are
Yeah,
guys in that portal that would love to come and play for a program, for a guy like Dabo Sweeney, for a good program like Clemson, and just not leaning in and just going full in and grabbing some of these big names. Uh, I just think I don't know. It should be malpractice. You should be fired for that. We don't live in a day and age where you can ignore the transfer portal.
right,
And if
right.
you do, it's time to get out. Look, Nick Saban, he admitted it. It wasn't his thing. It was way out of his depth, and that was kind of a contributing reason in his retirement. You can't continue to be a coach in college football in this day and age with the way the transfer portal has changed the game and expect to continue to compete for national championships by while denying the biggest asset you maybe have as far as building a team. Uh, is going and getting good players and putting them on your team. It's weird that there's a coach out there who doesn't want to put the best players in the country on his team. Uh, at least not that way. So I'm going to go with LSU. I think they've got the better team. Of course, the way these teams kind of play, any mistake can kind of change that. But again, right now, early season, just kind of leaning into what I think about the teams. I think LSU's got the better team on paper. That's the team I'm going to lean with here. And finally, we've got number 6 Notre Dame and number 10 Miami. They meet up on Sunday. This is going to be a huge game down in Coral Gables. And you know what? I'll go ahead and get it out of the way because we already know where I'm going to lean. I'm going to go with Notre Dame in this
Yeah,
game. Look, I do think there are some questions about how well CJ Carr will perform. A really close battle between him and Kenny Michi that was finally decided about a week ago. And so now with CJ Carr coming in, what's he going to be able to do for this team, and how does he look? Do they rely a bunch on Jeremiah Love, or does bringing in CJ Carr here, are they going to throw the ball a little bit more and trust his pocket presence? I expect to see a little bit less option, at least to start the year. Not that CJ Carr isn't mobile, but he's not nearly as mobile as Kenny Michi. I think we're going to lean more into the full-on offense that we played with Riley Leonard last year, that Michi probably would have been the guy. So I'd still expect option because that's a big part of Mike Denbrock's offense, but I'd expect less like designed QB runs and look to lean on Jeremiah Love a little bit. But we know this defense is elite. And with Miami, a lot of questions about what this team's going to be compared to last year. Lost a lot of pieces, but you gain a guy like Carson Beck, uh, and he's at his best. Shown that he can be a top quarterback in college football, but after the elbow injury, you really wonder what this guy's going to look at, especially playing against one of the best defenses in the country. But I'm going to lean Notre Dame, obviously. Go Irish to start the season, and let's hope for a big top 10 win on the road.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and give my pick out. I'll explain why. I got Notre Dame as well in the game. My thing here is, like I said, Carson Beck. It's a major elbow injury he had. It was quite a severe elbow injury. So you don't know what to expect. But at the same time, I think he'll be fine come ACC play because let's just face it, the talent level in the ACC with some teams is like night and day. So he's going to be able to put up some big numbers there. But he's going against one of the better defenses in the country in Notre Dame. And also, I think that's something Miami struggled with. They have not been a great defensive team in recent years. They've had some solid pieces. They've been a good defense. They haven't been able to take it to the next level in this game. And to me, in a game that I think could be kind of pretty low scoring here, uh, I look at the defenses. I give the edge to Notre Dame there. Plus, again, one of the more one of the more experienced offensive lines in the country, I think also helps Notre Dame here. And also having the best running back in college football probably this year, and Jeremiah Love being back kind of helps you whenever you have a really solid offensive line to go with that. Look, I know the questions about CJ Carr are there, but like I said in the season preview, if you're able to run the football and have a really good O line, the rest will take care of itself. You should be able to have success running the football. When now, if you need to pass, you'll give him plenty of time to throw the football. I'm going to pick Notre Dame to win this game pretty confidently. I don't think it'll be a blowout, but I will expect Notre Dame to win this game.
All righty. Well, you've got the picks here. Texas, LSU, Notre Dame down the board here on both sides. So don't got to worry too much about conflicting reports here from
Parlay
both
all
Texas
three of them, or parlay the three opposite teams if you want to fade us. I really don't blame you if you do, with it
Yeah.
being week one. So
Week one and top 10 matchups going to be almost impossible to truly predict. But speaking of the parlays, let's hit our bet of the week for week one. Look, it was tough kind of whittling it down. I did only go with one. I'll definitely be betting more than one come this weekend. But I wanted to go ahead and give my surefire, just with not knowing everything coming into this first week of the season, wanted to play it safe with just one. I wanted to go with the one that I thought I was the most confident with. Well, what's your bet of the week for us this week?
my bet of the week, there was a couple I was considering. Like you said, I will probably be doing multiple, just like you. One of the ones I know for a fact I'll be doing with Texas being an underdog. That's one I just know I'll be doing just because that's plus one. But my overall bet of the week, I'm heading to Lexington, where Kentucky is opening the season against the team that's probably favored to win the MAC or be one of the top teams competing in the group of five. And that's the Toledo Rockets going on the road and facing them. Toledo, 7.5 point underdog here. That's my bet of the week. I got Toledo plus 7.5. Maybe you could even sprinkle a little bit of money on that money line. I would not be shocked if Toledo won outright in this game. But Toledo plus 7.5 is my bet of the week.
So you're not feeling that 8-win Kentucky team or whatever that bold pick
No,
was. It sounds like.
listen, I try to be nice to the guy in the picks, but I mean, honest here. Plus, also, Toledo is a really, really great team. So it'd be different if they're playing like a middle of the pack or lower level MAC school. Then it's like, okay, then Kentucky will win that. But with this being one of the favorites, not just to win the MAC, but to make the playoff as that 12 seed, yeah, no, I'm going to pick Toledo to cover the spread easily.
Yeah, look, I'm trying to bounce back from last week. Obviously, so close. One more touchdown in the game would have gotten the over.
Yep.
in Stanford, Hawaii.
Were you
But
honestly hoping for a missed field goal for overtime?
yeah, it would have been nice. Would have liked to see those points go up because I did put I put $1 on it. I would have made $5.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Yeah, go.
would have been nice. But I didn't. Thanks a lot. Um, but we look this week, and I'm going with a pick that I really like, and it's going to be me riding with the Irish a little bit, or a former Irish, but I'm going to go Syracuse plus 14 against Tennessee. I almost want to go money line just for the sake of being that guy, but I'm not that confident that they'll win. But I think this is a good enough program, and especially with the way they finished in the ACC last year, that they're going to be a competitive school, especially in a weak ACC. I think Angeli showed kind of his talent against the top teams last year, filling in for those moments where Riley Leonard wasn't 100% and giving him those breaks throughout some games. And in that college football playoff game against Penn State, where he led a drive that kept Notre Dame in that ball game. I mean, had we not scored on that drive, we would have been looking at a much different result on the college football playoff. So Angeli's got the skills. I like him to keep it inside of 14 points against Tennessee.